You're 64 years old, you feel fine and sleep well, you exercise, you are careful about what you eat. But one morning, out of curiosity, you check your fasting blood sugar and the number surprises you. It's high. Not after a meal, not after dessert. You were asleep. This exact scenario plays out more often than the medical system likes to admit. And most people have no idea why or what to do about it. But here's what makes it even more alarming. That number you see first thing in the morning may be one of the most important numbers for your long-term health. And what most people don't know is that even slightly elevated fasting glucose, numbers many doctors consider fine, are quietly linked to increased cardiovascular risk. My name is Dr. Liam Green, and my goal is simple: to help you make sense of the science behind your health in plain, everyday language. What I'm about to share doesn't come from a single textbook. It comes from years of working with patients whose numbers were dismissed as fine until they weren't. Today, I'm walking you through exactly why blood sugar rises overnight even when you haven't eaten a thing. And then, I'll show you a natural seed, used in traditional medicine for over 2,000 years, that clinical research shows can meaningfully lower fasting blood glucose. At the end, I'll give you a concrete 5-step action plan to bring to your very next doctor's appointment. Stay with me through all 3 points because point 2 is the one that surprises people most. And point 3? Most people have never even heard of it until it's too late to start early. Before we get into the 3 points, I need to give you one concept. I call it the morning surge effect. While you sleep, your body doesn't just rest. Between 3 a.m. and 8 a.m., your brain releases a wave of hormones: cortisol, growth hormone, adrenaline. These tell your liver, send glucose into the bloodstream. We're about to start the day. Your liver obeys. It releases sugar into your blood before you've taken a single bite. In a fully healthy body, insulin handles that surge quickly. But here's what changes with age or with any degree of insulin resistance. The cells stop responding to insulin as sharply as they should. That morning surge becomes a sustained spike, and you wake up to a number that looks like you ate a full meal at midnight. Keep the morning surge effect in mind. It's the engine behind everything we're about to cover. Before we begin, drop a comment right now. Do you check your fasting blood sugar in the morning? I read every single comment, and your experience might help someone else watching today. And that brings us to point number 1. Your normal morning number may not be normal enough. Let me tell you about Helen. Helen was 62, a retired teacher, active, not overweight, no diabetes diagnosis. She started checking her fasting glucose at home. The number kept coming back around 102 to 106. Her doctor said, "That's fine. You're not diabetic." Here's the problem. Studies tracking hundreds of thousands of otherwise healthy adults have found that fasting morning glucose levels, even in the 95 to 99 range, numbers most doctors consider completely normal, are associated with measurably higher cardiovascular risk and a significantly increased likelihood of developing type 2 diabetes over time. The optimal target, according to metabolic health researchers, isn't under 126. It isn't even under 100. It's between 70 and 90 milligrams per deciliter. That's a much tighter window than most people realize. What to do instead? Ask your doctor for your exact fasting glucose number at every checkup, not just to pass or fail. Ask, what has my trend been over the last 3 years? That trend tells you far more than a single reading. That brings us to point number 2. The real culprit is your liver at 3 a.m. Now let me tell you about Robert. Robert was 58, a retired firefighter. He ate clean, barely touched sugar, yet every morning his glucose read between 108 and 115. He couldn't understand it until we talked about what his liver was doing while he slept. In many cases, high morning blood sugar has nothing to do with last night's dinner. It's your liver releasing stored glucose in response to those early morning hormones, right on schedule, every night. When insulin sensitivity is even slightly reduced, that glucose stays in the bloodstream longer than it should. The result looks exactly like you ate a bowl of cereal at midnight. And here's where it gets more counterintuitive. Lack of sleep makes it worse. Even a single poor night has been shown to measurably increase insulin resistance the following day. Compound that week after week, and the stage is set for chronically elevated morning numbers. What to do instead? Finish eating at least 3 hours before bed. Make dinner rich in protein and fiber, low in refined carbohydrates. And treat sleep as a metabolic intervention, because it is. If you're still with me and finding this useful, type 2 in the comments. It lets me know you're watching and getting value from this. Let's move to point number 3. The ancient seed that targets the morning surge directly. Dorothy was 67, a retired nurse. She knew enough about her numbers to be worried, and enough about medications to not want another one on her list. She came in with one simple question. Is there anything natural that actually has science behind it? I'm glad she asked, because there is. It's called Nigella sativa. You might know it as black seed or kalonji. Used in traditional medicine for over 2,000 years, and when researchers started putting it through clinical trials, the results were hard to ignore. Across 16 randomized controlled trials in people with type 2 diabetes, fasting blood glucose dropped by more than 21 milligrams per deciliter. For people in the prediabetic or early metabolic range, like many of you watching, the effect is likely more modest, but still meaningful. Its active compound, thymoquinone, helps your cells respond to insulin again and quietly tells your liver to ease up on that overnight glucose release. Right at the heart of the morning surge effect. Here's your 5-step plan. Write it down or save this video. Step 1. Know your real target. Ask your doctor, what is my exact fasting glucose, and is our goal below 90? Step 2. Close the kitchen 3 hours before bed. This alone reduces the overnight glucose load your liver has to manage. Step 3. Try Nigella sativa, 1/4 to half a teaspoon of whole seeds daily. Give it 8 to 12 weeks and track your fasting number. Step 4. Protect your sleep. Consistent quality sleep is not optional for blood sugar control. One bad night shows up in your morning number. Step 5. Walk after dinner. 10 to 15 minutes. It meaningfully reduces the post-meal spike that sets up the next morning's reading. Any good doctor will welcome these questions. If they dismiss them, that's important information about whether that doctor is the right fit for you. 8 weeks later, Helen came back after making a few simple changes. Earlier dinners, black seeds in her morning yogurt, and short walks after meals. Her fasting glucose was now consistently between 84 and 91. One thing she said stayed with me. I stopped dreading the number. Now I'm just curious about it. That's what this is really about. Not fear. Not obsessing over numbers. It's about replacing confusion with clarity and frustration with a strategy that works. Your liver isn't betraying you at 3 a.m. It's doing what it was designed to do. Start tomorrow morning. Half a teaspoon of black seeds, dinner by 7 p.m., and a short walk after eating. Then simply watch how your body responds. If this video gave you something real today, please give it a like. And share this. Send it to someone whose morning numbers have been brushed off as fine. Stay sharp. I'll see you in the next one.